Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Alternus Clean Energy CEO Vincent Browne. Vincent, very good to speak with you. You're up with news recently that you've received full permitting for the first of your 11 Italian solar projects. Before we get into that, for viewers not familiar with the company, tell us a little bit about Alternus Clean Energy.
Yes, and look, thanks for having me on. Nice to be with you. Alternus Clean Energy, 7 to 8 years in the solar, primarily in the utility solar space over that time. Very successful, building a large portfolio in Europe up to about 22, 23. We over that period of time, we moved to the US market to really take advantage of the Inflation Reduction Act, Mr. Biden's climate bill, which is a huge benefit to companies such as ours, where you have low equity needs. So most of those projects are funded with great tax incentive. But besides that, in Europe, we grew up in Europe. So we started a business with 2 projects in Romania and ended up with about 168 megawatts, 45 projects across Europe. So we have a great track record in building portfolios. Obviously, when the interest rates squeezed and spiked up, we looked at what best use of equity would be going forward. And so we elected to divest most of the heavily indebted operating assets and have focused very much now on the earlier stage portfolio that we've had for some time. So with that said, Italy is a big market for us. We've been there since 2017. We know it very, very well. And these projects in particular, we have worked with local partners to develop, which is essentially do all the paperwork, all the permitting, all of the permissions you need in order to, and grid connections and so on, that you need to construct and operate a solar park long term. So with that, Italy as a big focus country for us. It's a single one for Europe in the short term. As I said, we have a team on the ground in Italy for some time, and we're very excited now to finally reach the first permitting of what our 11 projects that we're working on with our partners there. So that's hopefully a bit of an overview for you in terms of how we got where we are. In terms of Italy itself, look, very key market, as I mentioned, fabulous supports, both just not in financial necessarily from the governments, but more on permitting, and they've really understood how to ease the process for companies such as ours to develop and construct these projects. This one in particular is about 18 megawatts, so that's pretty substantial. Connects directly to the grid. And so we'll be powering the Italian grid about 18 months from now, hopefully. And the construction will start here in May, June period. So it's past its most critical phases. You just have to kind of tail end it now. And we're really excited, and 2025 is off to a very strong start for the business.
Vincent, how does your expansion in Italy complement your portfolio of renewable energy assets?
No, look, again, I think there are very few. It's solar, particularly utility scale, has been quite difficult in the past few years. As I said, because they're very heavily capital intensive. When you start sooner in the process, you tend to build up a big equity base, which we've done here, and we do plan to expand again in Italy. Now we'll hopefully double that portfolio over the next 2 or 3 years. So get to a 500 megawatt operating target in the country. In terms of the other assets, as I mentioned earlier, we kind of have, besides Italy, focused very much now on the US markets, where we've announced recently a joint venture with a wind turbine company, or wind turret company called Hover. So we're setting up a microgrid unit that will focus primarily in US, UK, and Ireland. A lot of wind here in Ireland, obviously, so it's a good location for that. And so we're very excited about that. That's coming, shortly here. And then pre-Christmas, we bought a boutique battery storage team with a huge blue chip company customer base. And so we're going to combine those 2 businesses and really start addressing the AI challenge and lack of power that exists when you try and look at those AI challenges and the re-energizing of the relocating of industrial activity back to the US. So Europe and US will be the core focus. And so the Italian assets, look, they generate a lot of cash flow. When all these are operating, there'll be $25 million a year in revenue for 30 plus years. If we chose to sell them, we'd get maybe 50 or 60 million of equity value in the stack between working so early to end the construction. So they're obviously a very key strategic component of the business, the strategy going forward. And that's kind of where we see ourselves in the next 2 to 3 years here.
Vincent, what else does 2025 hold in store for Alternus?
Yeah, look, again, probably It's kind of a growing year again. We've spent 2 years in kind of retrenchment mode and rebalancing our balance sheet. We shed a lot of debt last year. We've brought the balance sheet back and are bringing it back to positive shareholder equity. So that's been a tricky enough transition from Europe to Nasdaq. We're looking forward now to good equity sourcing. So we were getting a lot of demand now and a lot of interest in the markets, which we're pleased about. Last year was a bit dry for everybody. So I think 2025 is going to be a year of growth again, and we're looking forward to that. Pretty excited about some of the initiatives that we have. So we look forward to announcing those in due course, but primarily in the microgrid space, bringing the rest of the Italian portfolio into construction, and indeed what we're going to do with battery storage. We're also at advanced stages in some other technologies that we can bring to bear, but they're pretty early. So 2025, back to growing, which is a great mindset to be in, and we've positioned the company, I believe, exceptionally well for that.
Well, Vincent, I hope you'll keep us updated on any progress. Thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
That's Alternus Clean Energy CEO Vincent Browne.